All right, we need to continue on here. We are solving equations still, but this is worded a little bit differently in that it says find the roots, zeros, solutions. You could say x-intercepts. If I had said find the x-intercepts, if you can think back to the very beginning, if I was ever trying to find an x-intercept, what we had to do was make the y equal 0. And x-intercept means the same thing as roots. Look, even the word 0, that's because it makes the y 0. Or solving. So if I had to find the x-intercepts or the roots, the first thing I do is make the y 0. And now this question looks identical to how we started. Okay? So if you look at these first ones, there they are, it's equal to 0. I had to complete the square. So this is where we're starting right now. It just wrote it in a different way because it said, hey, can you find the x-intercepts? Now, keep in mind, these are all the x-intercepts, all of these things. Whenever we were solving and we made it equal to 0, technically those are all roots or x-intercepts or zeros. So it's just a matter of how you word it. It means the same thing. So we need to now solve this just like we did the first 3 questions above us here. So backwards BEDMAS says do this addition or subtraction first. So we'll add the 9 over. So 9 equals x minus 1 squared. Sometimes there's a timesing that happens in front there that we need to divide. That's not the case. So then we can do the exponent. So this becomes plus or minus 3 equals x minus 1. Don't forget the plus or minus. And then we can add the 1 over to this side. So we have x equals 1 and then the plus or minus 3. So we've got the 1 plus 3 option, which is 4. So x equals 4. But then we also have the 1 minus 3 option. 1 minus 3 is negative 2. Whoops, there we go. So those are our 2 answers. Let's take a look at B. It says find the roots again, or find the zeros. Okay, so I'm just going to make my y 0. This is a negative 1. I'll write that down. The first thing I need to do is backwards BEDMAS. I need to move over the 4, so I'll subtract it over there. I'm just going to move it and write it as negative 4. I'm not actually going to go minus 4 from both sides. I think you can probably do that. Here, however, I will divide by negative 1. So I get 4 equals x minus 3 squared. So again, we got rid of the addition, subtraction first. Then we get rid of any multiplication and division. Now we can get rid of the exponents. So let's do that. So I've got plus or minus 2. Square root of 4 is plus or minus 2. Sorry, square root of 4 is just 2. But because we're solving, we have to do a plus or minus. And there's an x minus 3. Now we can get rid of that bracket by adding the 3. So I have 3 plus or minus 2. So I've got 3 plus 2. That's one of my options. That's 5. So x could equal 5. And I've got 3 minus 2. So I got 3 plus 2, and now I have 3 minus 2. 3 minus 2 is 1. And those are my 2 answers. These are really nice answers, by the way. These are nice whole numbers. We are going to get to some that are not nice. Not like they're mean or anything, but simply that they're not going to be perfect numbers. So 0 equals negative. I'm going to put a 1 here. X plus 2 squared plus 9. And I set it equal to 0 because that's what it means to find a 0 or a root or an x-intercept. Now we can solve. Get rid of any addition or subtraction. So I'll minus the 9 over to here. Negative 1 times x plus 2 squared. Now I can get rid of any multiplication by dividing. So 9 equals x plus 2 squared. Then I can square root. So plus or minus 3 equals x plus 2. And then I can minus 2 from both sides. So I've got a -2, and then a plus or minus 3, and there's an x. So what do I have here? I got to be really careful. So I've got a -2 and a positive 3. -2 and positive 3. So that's going to be 1. -2 plus 3 is 1. And then I've got a -2 and a -3. -2 and -3 is -5. There we go. So these are written a lot neater in the notes, so you can take a look at those. The next ones, I can't remember if they're nice numbers like 4 and -2, or if they're decimal numbers that get pretty not complicated, just they look strange. So I can't remember, but we only have, well, how many do we have? We have those 3 and those 2, so we have 5 more questions left, which this seems to take forever. I don't know who made these notes.